Hello, hello.
Hey,
Good
friends.
morning. How are you? Good to see you this morning? Even though I can't really see you, I know that you're there. I can feel that you're there somewhere. How you doing?
I got real confused by what you just said.
I don't even know what I was saying. I was saying good to see you, but I realized that all I see
Did you
is like
feel
people's
you were
names
lying?
pop up.
Did you feel like you were
A
lying?
little bit.
Okay, that's
A little
really
bit.
funny.
I felt caught.
It's like good to be here.
Good to see you. Yeah, it's good to be here. That's exactly
says
what it is.
that?
I don't know. It sounds like a quote from somewhere.
It does.
Yeah.
From where?
It's probably a Chandler Bing quote from Friends.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Good morning.
Hey.
How you doing? Welcome to the We're Better When We Come Together
Morning show.
with her.
And that one.
Oh man, that got me.
Why don't we headbang to our morning show?
What really confused me is it looked like you had a full mouth of coffee
I
while
did.
you were headbanging.
I did.
You didn't feel like you're gonna spew it out?
I did not.
Wow,
But here's the
okay.
thing. I don't care. Even if I did.
Okay.
I'm a little like full of piss and vinegar this morning.
Yeah.
That is a phrase. If you're not from America, it's not literal.
The American South specifically.
I am feeling
Morning.
angry sassy. Yeah.
Would you like to go
No.
further? Or would
No.
you like to just hold that?
There's really no reason that I know I just woke up this way. You ever had that kind of feeling before? You just wake up in a mood. What I really think it is like I didn't get to go on a walk yesterday at all. Like I got to go and put my feet in the grass, but I worked a pretty long day.
Yes, you did.
Which I loved. It was actually a really good day. I felt connected to my clients. It felt really good. But I didn't really have good time because by the time I finished work, it was like dinner time. And then once I eat dinner, I don't want to go on a long, hard
Right.
walk. So I just think I need to move my body this morning. Do you want to go on a walk after this?
Let's do it. Anybody want to go on a walk with us? Anybody?
Walks are good for you.
Absolutely.
I mean, I like them. If you can. If you can do that, it's really good. But
Especially for me
finding nature.
in the mornings or in the late evenings during this time of the year. For us here, it's just like it's already 71 degrees, which is actually pretty cool. It's already, usually this time of the morning, it's like 75, 76 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah, and in the mid 90s during the middle of the day. So it's kind of miserable to go on a walk.
I'm going to check in with you, but instead of the number, this is what I have for you.
Tell me what you really think about
That
it.
felt very good. I'm really delighted myself. Have you ever checked in with just a body noise? Because I highly recommend it.
Yep. Well,
I'm like, this is actually how my face wants to be right now.
yeah. Well, own it, dude.
I am.
Be grumpy cat.
I'm doing what I want. Don't tell me how to be angry. I love you. Please don't leave
No,
me.
you don't. No, you don't. You're faking.
Yeah, I do. I can be mad and be loving. I can technically love you and be mad at the same time.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Something just happened on Facebook. Whoa, it's going back and forth like it was very bright, and then now it's kind of muted itself again. Bizarre. I don't know if it's like the light. We're doing a different angle today.
Serenity now. Serenity now.
We keep trying new things now I see. We keep trying new things to try for the morning show to try to have a better, more consistent thing going on. Yes, I know.
Yes, Sandita. Let's do it.
Yes,
That would be
let's talk to
amazing.
Instagram and Facebook. Actually, it's Facebook and then Instagram by Facebook now. If you
I
see.
speak almost exclusively in GIFs. So
Yeah.
I would be a big fan of that. And emojis. I really like all of that because sometimes words need a bit of flair.
Yeah.
And sometimes not.
Oh, Robin stayed up with her dog late last night.
That's
Robin,
what
you're in the
happened to
thick
me.
of it right now, girl.
I stayed up
Just
late.
thinking of you.
I stayed up late and I'm a self-preservation subtype in the Enneagram system. And I just do not do well staying up late. But I watched too many Criminal Minds and I got so scared that I had to keep watching them until I could get tired enough to fall asleep. But I never did. Instead, I was just weirdly alert and exhausted and
Aw.
mad.
That sucks.
That's what it is.
I know that
Thank
feeling.
you for helping me find that.
Well, I did what I did. I don't know what I did.
Yeah. Now I know. Now I can feel a little bit better. It helps me to, if I can, make meaning about how I feel. I don't know why, but it's what Dan Siegel says. He says, you name it, you tame it. So naming our feelings, like being able to make meaning of them, really does help. I'm not trying to shift myself from that place. It just helps to know.
I will be honest with you. I woke up on the wrong side of the bed too this morning.
Did
I
you?
was very grumpy.
Really?
And then I went and did my morning pages this morning. And it
You
took...
did them without me?
Yeah, well, you were asleep. So I did them,
Wow.
and it took me 3 pages of writing out what was going on and what was feeling before I really got a sense of what was going on. And now I do have a sense of what was going on and what I need for the day, but I was then angry at myself because it took so long to figure it out. Like 3 pages. I wrote for close to 30 minutes of just like trying to
How long
exercise.
were you out there?
Well, since this
What
morning.
would you do if I burst into tears because my feelings were so hurt right now?
I would say, guys, thank you for joining us this morning on the Come Together show. We're going to go deal with some issues that we're having between us, and then we'll come back to you tomorrow. That's what I would do.
Did you not wake me up because you had a sense I was this kind of high drama today? You wanted to let me sleep?
Probably.
Yeah.
Well, it is so rare that you go to
it's
bed
so
after
funny.
me, and when you weren't getting up this morning, I was like, all right, just let her do her thing. So that's kind of where I was.
That's very funny.
Oh yeah, dogs do not like stitches. I could see that.
Yeah.
Do they have they have the cone on their head at all?
I'm almost made
Schitt's
a-
Creek. In those
Schitt's
gifts.
Creek gifts are, I think it's maybe one of my most favorite shows of all time.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the gifts are just the best.
Mm-hmm.
David and Alexis in particular. Probably Alexis more than anyone.
A little bit Alexis.
La 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 la.
Cool. Well, how are you doing this morning?
I feel so much better.
Yay!
I mean, with the exception of you cheating on me with your morning page work.
That is some extreme language, my friend.
I know.
Wow.
I said it to hurt you.
Well,
I love you very much.
today will be an interesting
So sorry.
day.
I'm sorry to all of you who now feel like mom and dad are
Well,
not
now-
having such a good.
We just know more about everybody. We're all sharing. We're sharing Schitt's Creek, and emotions need a little bit of exaggeration, and how our dogs are doing and everything. That's what we're here for. This is the community. This is catching up with everybody. Yesterday, I was in a bad mood, and I got better when I was here on the show.
I'm already feeling better.
Good.
Here.
Yay.
Yeah, I love you.
I love you too. I'm here for it, man.
Okay, good.
I enjoy you being you.
So let's check in with everybody. What do you think?
I would
Should
like
we
this.
let's just do it.
Let's just use our hands.
That's good. Okay,
Aw.
so Chris talks about this all the time on the show, but what we're gonna do, we're gonna check in. You can just notice right now what you're feeling in your body, any sort of emotions that you're feeling, how you're doing mentally, how your mind is, and then we do this on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest you can be, 1 being the lowest that you can be. We have different baselines, so like what your average, your normal, sort of typical neutral number is. My neutral is about a 5. Your neutral is about a 7. And so we can't directly compare our numbers,
Yeah.
right? So a 5 for me would be low for him. For me, I'm like, sweet, this is great.
Sweet.
I would say my number's like a 4 from my anger and tiredness. And I feel a need to both walk and to creatively express something. So, we all have creativity inside of us, but those of you too who maybe are writers or artists or something in that way, do you know the feeling I'm talking about where it almost feels hot, like burning kind of inside, that I actually feel like frustrated and a little bit like irritable with?
I loved your shoulder move. That was awesome. I didn't want to stop you, but I'm irritable. I loved it.
Is that
Loved
not
it.
your irritable dance?
Oh,
I feel really sorry for you guys for y'all to come in and just be watching how we actually really are in
Nah,
our
this is
kitchen
the
in the
stuff,
morning.
man. This is the stuff. This is how we are in life.
So there's this need, this burning, and until I can sit in front of my computer and write some things out and move my body a little bit, I just think I'm gonna stay irritable and a bit frustrated and a little bit fiery on the inside.
I love it.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Does that happen to you?
Yes.
Does that happen to any of y'all?
Yes.
Sometimes I think I'm so weird.
Honestly,
that kind of thing happens to me.
I'm in a very similar space, and that's what I realized after 3 pages of writing is
hold
that.
my hands.
Yes. Uh-oh. Are we rededicating our marriage right now?
I accept the fact that you did your morning pages without me because it sounds like you really needed them.
I really, really did. I appreciate that.
All right,
And I accept all of you today.
Good. Well, that's maybe more than what you've bargained for, but I appreciate it.
I'll take it.
So Caitlin's at a 7.
Nice.
I want to see if I'm saying your name right. Tisyakari. Oh, that's so pretty.
Yeah.
3. Thank you so much for sharing. How about you?
I'm at a 7.
7.
I woke up this morning at about a 4, but have since moved up the ladder.
That's when sometimes we're like all like this with each other is when our numbers are really far apart, I feel like,
Yeah,
too. The
no,
farther
absolutely.
apart our numbers are, it's like harder to find each other in the middle sometimes.
Yeah.
And so we're like all elbows.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all awkward feeling.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to figure out
7
angles
plus,
here.
Vendita. That's really good.
7 plus, that is
I
nice.
think this looks fine. You all can see us, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to make sure that Facebook and Instagram have similar angles. So,
Jillian's got a 6.
Oh,
awesome.
nice.
Thank you, Jillian.
Caitlin, how's moving going? Just wanted to check in with that.
Caitlin's moving.
Yeah. You know, I woke up this morning just ready to like fight. But the more that I have just done the normal, slow waking up things, like making sure the coffee's done, the dog has been for a walk, done some journaling, I really feel myself at a different place an hour and a half, 2 hours later.
You've been up a long time.
Yeah, I got up about 5:30, so not quite 2 hours, but
Yeah. You feel similar, but for different reasons.
Yeah.
It's so important. Like we get to feel the full range of our feelings. Well, and Chris and I always talk about this. Like I'm not interested in coming here and performing as a human being for y'all. So I think that's good. I already feel a little bit better. I just felt myself take a deep breath, which is really nice.
Yep.
Morning pages are the best. Again, highly recommend. Highly recommend. You don't even have to buy the book if you don't want to, but just you can Google Julia Cameron morning pages, and it's like a 2 or 5 minute, I can't remember, YouTube video, and it's good.
Yeah.
You're panicking. Caitlin's answering you.
Yeah.
Panic about getting it all done, and then need alone time to calm down. Yeah. I learned this phrase from you, Caitlin. Stare at the wall time, and it's just so perfectly said. I have to have it every day.
Yeah. I've actually been practicing that a lot recently too, of just, I usually pack my day full of a lot, but it's not really anything of substance. Like I'm constantly listening to a podcast. I'm constantly watching a YouTube video. I'm constantly thinking about something, but trying to like, as soon as I think about it, I'm going to try to find an answer somewhere. Like, this reminds me of this book that I've been needing to read that's
like
about a similar
all the
subject.
rabbit trails.
Yeah, and so instead of staring at the wall and actually thinking it out myself, I am going to find answers elsewhere, and it actually numbs my issue. So
that's really
this
good.
morning, those 3 pages actually was just me sitting with myself and writing out what was going on, which I feel at this stage in the game was so much more helpful for me than to actually try to go find an answer somewhere else, because now I actually have a plan that I created instead of hearing something from someone else and letting them kind of do the work for me. So that's
really good.
Yeah.
But it's harder energetically, isn't it? And it's like you have to do the like falling through, well, I do, falling through like space and time, like falling through darkness when I don't have any sort of, well, and I'm an Enneagram 3, so this might have something to do with it. When I don't have any external feedback or anything coming from the outside, no books that I'm reading, no podcasts, no, like even if I'm not literally being observed or in relationship or whatever, when I let go of those things, it takes me a minute to kind of like fall through space and find solid ground.
Yeah.
It feels really scary.
Yeah.
Like a free fall, like a trust fall, you know.
So here's what I realized in this is that I woken up 2 days in a row grumpy. And recently I've been waking up in the morning and having a lot of energy and excited about the day. So I'm realizing that there's a couple of things that I need to do that I don't want to do because they're uncomfortable. So I keep procrastinating and not
that's good.
doing them. and that is making me wake up with this existential dread.
Yeah.
But like, it's still not done. You didn't do anything about it yesterday, so it's still on the to-do list today. And now you don't want to do it even more because it's yet another day. And so that's what I realized through that is that, one, I procrastinate because something is uncomfortable. And then I continue to procrastinate because it's uncomfortable. And now it's longer. I've got more time of it being uncomfortable, and so it just compounds. And until I do these activities, one, it's canceling our gym membership, so that we can move on with doing some other things that we want to do. I keep putting it off because I don't want to go in person and sign these documents and have them try to talk me into staying and all this kind of stuff. So all that
Someone
being said,
take the task away,
Absolutely.
right? Like, get it away.
yes,
I feel so similarly. Sometimes there's like an email I have to send
Mm-hmm.
or like some task that feels mundane. It's not that the people there are mundane, it's the task itself, right?
yeah.
The task, whatever that thing is. And then it feels like I can't completely focus on whatever creative or
Yeah.
expressive sort of thing I want to do because that thing is nagging me right here. Does that do that to you too?
Yes. Amen, sister. Yes.
It's the eating the frog.
100%. There is a thing that I need to do that I don't want to do, so I keep putting it off, and it keeps putting me back in a bad mood because I still don't want to do it. And now there's more time between when I should have done it and now. So, yes, it is similar to rapid writing. It's free association writing. We're talking about the morning pages. Yes, it is that. It's 3 pages longhand, like not typed, but written out of just whatever's on your mind. Some days it's been, I don't want to do this. I really don't want to do this
For
anymore.
3 pages. And then
Yeah.
you get like a claw because you're writing it with your actual
Yeah.
hand and you can't move your fingers. Did you ever like take a test or an exam where you had to like write by hand and then you were like, oh, I can't move it anymore. The claw. Right?
Yeah. But it really does help to just get things out. So then once those things are out, then I can either take care of those things that need to be taken care of, or now I have more space to be creative in the things that I enjoy doing creatively.
Lauren's got such an excellent point. Those tasks are so extra hard right now and so much more anxiety provoking because getting out and about and doing anything, we're again faced with global pandemic and fear and safety. And again, I'm a self-preservation subtype on the Enneagram, so it's all organized around safety and self-preservation, not just for me, but like my family members and the people that I care about and that sort of thing. So it's like, I'm not fine. You know, safety stuff is everywhere. Like I can kind of operate and everything, but then I have these moments where it just hits me again that we're in the middle of all of this and it can like bring me to my knees. You know, it's so much to hold.
Yeah.
So I think there's all of that. That's like the moving my body, putting my feet to the ground kind of a thing. Like there's something, and I've said this before, but there's something for me about going on a walk, going into immersing myself into the woods on the trails. It's like this tree has been here before any of this stuff happened. It'll be here long after. You know, the water that's flowing, it all, like nature is such a teacher about flow and resistance.
It's beautiful.
And acceptance, all of those things. It feels a little bit better to me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Quickly, I wanted to go back. I think Nandita was asking this a little bit earlier.
I missed it.
Yes. When we should have a morning where I break out the guitar
that's very fun.
and sing a song
Oh,
or 3.
will you do it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good, y'all. That'd be so good.
That'd be a lot of fun. Also, could I say this? I am about to ramp up my social media stuff, especially on Instagram. Ooh. So if you're not following me on Instagram, I would love to be your buddy, but I'm not going to force it. At
no requirement.
Chris Murphy Hub. If you would like, if we're not friends already, I would love, because we go live on your feed every day.
That's
and
true.
I love this. We actually are starting to post these episodes on YouTube as well.
Again.
At Terry Murphy. It's like youtube.com/Terry Murphy, TERIMURPHY.
Is it not Dr. Terry Murphy?
Maybe it is. I forget. But we're starting to post those daily as well. We've got all of last week's and this week's we're posting also. But I would love to continue this conversation with you of just like, you know, chatting with you after the shows and stuff. So if you would like to if we're not already friends, feel free to follow along. And I would love that. So Anywho, thank you for checking
He's
in.
a real keeper. Highly recommend.
I
10
do
out of
too.
10.
I'll recommend
With
me
you,
too.
baby, it's always a 10.
Oh, I appreciate that.
It's not true, but I do love you. Like,
Hold on,
it's a
what
10.
none is?
Well, I'm just saying sometimes we fight. And
Oh,
sometimes it's hard.
oh yeah.
But
of
I
course.
love you wholeheartedly.
I appreciate that.
Technically a 10.
All right, we're going to be quick about our talking about relationships today because we just get on with our day. But we so appreciate that you're here. We love that we've done the check-in, that we've had a lot of talking, especially on Instagram. Again, Facebook, if you're chatting, we can't read it. Every now and then, Facebook just does what Facebook does, and we can't see the messages coming through. So if you have messaged something this morning, nothing is on our screen. So so sorry if that is the case.
I
Otherwise,
really like how Instagram has the feed looks over there.
yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
But let's talk briefly, about 5 or 10 minutes or so,
Cycles.
about cycles, and especially the cycle of attack,
Yes.
or pursue. Yesterday we talked about cycles. The last couple of weeks we've been talking about our attachment style, which is either you pursue someone to get your needs met when things are uncomfortable, or you withdraw, you push yourself away when things are uncomfortable. And so then we tied it into, like, in a relationship, what happens when you have one that's a pursuer and one that is a withdrawer, and what does that mean? How does that look? So today we're going to quickly and briefly go over what it looks like when both parties are pursuers.
Well, they're not really. Okay, so this is why this is a more tricky sort of pattern to talk about, because it's incredibly rare that two people who are actually full-blown pursuers find themselves in relationship together. And attack is the least likely type to present. What?
I'm just, every now and then when I lean back a different way, you see how the lighting happens with Facebook?
Yeah.
See how it's different? And then I
I
lean
do.
back and it will overcorrect.
Near, far. Near, far.
I'm sure it's boring for everybody except for me, so I'm just trying to observe it.
Hey, you lean into whatever delights you. If
Like
you want
this.
to move around, you move around. We are going to hold space for you.
Deal.
Man, I feel so much better already. I feel like my number went up to like 4.25 already. It's an extreme jump for me.
It went like that. It wasn't this. It was
Sweetie.
boop, boop,
Yeah.
boop. Yeah.
Okay,
All right.
so what really happens more often is that you've got a pursuer and a withdrawer in relationship, but this withdrawer has had enough. They are not going to take it anymore, not one more time. Or it's more of like a withdrawer that has been traumatized in some way, and so their best defense is a good offense. So sometimes they may even be the ones to initiate conflict in the relationship as a withdrawer, which is not typical, because if they even sense that the atmosphere changes, they're going to get other people before they get gotten. So this kind of escalation is rapid. It's super fast. So versus, look at it like pursue withdraw is like warm, which can get heated and hot, but it's typically a pretty like medium sort of relationship. There's a whole continuum. Withdraw runs super cold. It's cool. There's not a lot of fast, rapid sort of conversation, fighting, any of that kind of stuff. It runs pretty cold. And think about attack as like flames and hot. It very quickly can escalate. Those escalations are loud and fierce. There's fighting. Everyone thinks that the other person is like the enemy and the bad guy. There's a lot of blame. And the blaming is what can look pursue, because if you look at the behavior above the waterline, so to speak, so the conscious, observable behavior, everyone looks like they're blaming each other. But under the surface, there's two different needs really happening, right? The pursuer still wants closeness, proximity, and connection, right? The true pursuer. And so the blaming and criticism and that sort of thing, it doesn't seem like this would be the case, but what they're really trying to do is to pull each other close and to get connected again. Where what the withdrawer really wants is to make it stop, to make it end, to get it away. And what they found is in this kind of relationship, probably with a pretty hot burning pursuer or a previous relationship that was that way, the withdrawer has realized there's no amount of shutting down and going away that is going to get them the space and the calm that they need. So they get kind of backed into a corner. And what happens to prey animals when they really get backed into a corner? They come out fighting. And it feels like that's the only option left. So it can have like this burn it to the ground sort of quality. So if you find yourself in a relationship like that, it can actually be pretty addictive because the intensity is high. And we can start to mistake intimacy for intensity. That intensity and intimacy are not the same thing.
So true.
Right? But you get addicted because remember, what we're trying to do is we learn from the release of pressure. Pursuers and withdrawers experience that in two very different ways. But in an attack relationship, the release of pressure comes from that intense fighting, like this, rah, fight. And then when the relaxation comes down, everybody gets a hit of dopamine. Everyone has the release of pressure, which only reinforces that kind of fighting. But it's problematic because that's not actually super sustainable to maintain that kind of a relationship. It's also very hard to actually repair. So it's not uncommon to see in an attack relationship that intimacy comes through the form of fighting and sex. That sex is a way that you can really repair and that there is some vulnerability in some intimacy in that way, where we don't see that as often in the other two sorts of cycles. Withdrawers do move in sometimes in that way and reach for sex, but this has a little bit of a different feel. So let's take it back to TV because I think this is an easier way to do it. We talked about pursue, withdraw, and how you're looking at like your romantic comedies and sitcoms and that sort of thing, and that's the classic sort of pattern. When you're talking about an attack pattern, think about like The Notebook. Think about how they intensely fought and like they were controlling of each other. There were all these power dynamics. Like any of these things like in media tend to romanticize attack relationships. Like it's passionate. It is. But passion and anger are super closely connected too, right? So you're looking at like, you see this sometimes in like young adult fiction too, or like Twilight, some of these sort of things.
I was thinking Twilight.
There's like intensity that borders on like intimate partner violence and that sort of thing. I'm not saying if you're in an attack relationship that it's automatically violent, but it is more likely that in that intensity that neither person will back down, neither person is going to calm things down or move for space. It's just higher of a likelihood that you might push and shove each other a little. And then if you add alcohol or drugs on top of an attack cycle, that just really amplifies the possibility that there could be some violence, even if these people are not typically violent.
Yeah.
Well, right. Thank you, Nandita, for saying that. A lot of us, especially if you were raised in an environment that there was any kind of trauma or that your template was formed that the people that loved you also hurt you, or if you were in early romantic relationships, you know, in your tween, teen, early adulthood sort of years. I mean, this really can go on throughout, but we're talking like developmentally. If you were in relationships where you were controlled or someone used power over you, then you might get wired in together that passion and pain. Love is really about intensity, and it's okay if the people that you love hurt you because the repair is so sweet. The coming back together and relaxation is sweet. I've seen this in my office. People will be screaming and fighting, and then something happens and they're like making out with each other. And I didn't even see really the de-escalation sometimes. I mean, this really, couples who fight in this way are going to be loud enough that their neighbors can typically hear, or they will like embarrass you at a restaurant, or fight sometimes publicly, or even in your house. Like that's just part of the deal. So based on the research, attack relationships only really typically last around 5 to 7 years on average. Now they can last longer than that, but just think about it. Unless something changes, unless somebody gets secure enough to become vulnerable, both people protecting themselves are going at each other. And it's just really difficult unless there is healing and a restructuring of the bond to something more secure. It's a difficult relationship to just kind of last indefinitely. It's hard to sustain that kind of intensity long term.
May I say that, and this is just coming off the cuff, I may say this, and I want you to correct me if I'm wrong, but passion should feel like excitement maybe it should feel like something that is like there's energy there, there's a
Yeah.
drive there, kind of like going on a roller coaster or something. There's like nervous energy as it's like as you're thinking about doing it, and then right as you're about to do it, whatever it may be, whether it's like painting or sex or
You're so
or
pretty.
whatever. Thank you. But it shouldn't like fold into the realm of painful. Maybe a little bit, but it shouldn't stay there. So I appreciate
Yeah.
what you said, because I think that oftentimes it could look like that from the outside, especially like when you're sitting with clients, or if I'm
Yeah.
sitting with a couple and things are really volatile, it feels painful to be in that situation.
Yeah.
But and maybe when it comes to conflict, somebody's so passionate about something that it's going to be a difficult time getting through it. But I hope that it's not something that sustains itself there in that painful place. Just wanted
I
to say
feel
that out loud.
so much better right now.
Yay.
I feel like a 5.
Ooh.
You
guys!
You're not supposed to say guys anymore.
Oh, that's true. I was quoting a movie.
You all. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
That's Phoebe.
You guys.
I know.
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you for being here and for holding space and to just show up exactly as you are. All of you is also welcome here. So we're not going to like pull any punches. We don't expect you to care for us in any sort of way like that. But, authenticity and integrity are really important to us. So even if we're having grumpy days or what have you, we're going to be here. Now, I do want to tell you that I'm planning on taking a sabbatical from social media in August, and I will let you know what that looks like, but I will not be on any social media platforms during that break. It's important to me from time to time to just completely take breaks from that outside coming in, especially as I've been writing and focusing that way. But it's really just to restore, to rest completely, to fill myself back up. I talk about it all the time, but my grandparents on both sides of my family were farmers, and vegetable farmers in particular. And on our land, what happens is every couple of years, you let one of the fields rest completely without planting anything in it. You just rest it completely. And then the next year when you go and plant in that field, the earth is responsive in a different way. There are more minerals and everything has been able to just rest and settle. And I think that we're that way as human beings. I think that we need seasons where we don't have rest as like we were both talking about as like a checkbox on a day-to-day level, but to have a longer period. It's just like vacation. But this is different for me than vacation, where it's outward and expressive and playful. This is a time where I go in and take care of myself in some ways to rest like that. But we'll give you more information. We're still looking at our calendars to figure out when the best time for that is going to be. We have a couple of announcements that are coming up that I think would be really amazing. I think we should still do our book giveaway and handle the coffee, which we had started before COVID hit. This giveaway that we were going to do, and everything just like screeched to a halt with that. So I think it would be fun to do something like that.
Absolutely.
And then maybe we could talk about, what is going to happen during the break. But yeah.
Well,
but
thank you.
We'll be here
Yeah.
tomorrow. We're going to keep talking
Of
until
course.
that comes up.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us all. Really appreciate you. I love the comments. I love us all checking in together. I love this community feel. So yesterday I was feeling down, and just being here made me feel better. Today you were feeling down, and just being here made you feel better. So we hope that in the way that this community works for us, it's also working for you.
I really
also.
hope so.
We hope that you log on in the mornings, enjoy yourselves, feel better as a result, and then more apt and able to move throughout your day. So we love you. You got this. Go have a great day. We'll see you again bright and early tomorrow. Thank you for being here.
Bye, loves.
Bye, everyone.